He walked away from the Octagon undefeated. 29 wins, 0 losses. A history. But Khabib Nurmagomedov's story didn't end with his final fight. Away from the bright lights, the Eagle built an empire as disciplined and precise as his fighting style. From a mountainside estate in Dagestan to luxury villas in Dubai, from a garage blending rugged off-road power with refined European engineering to rare watches gifted by royalty, Khabib's wealth reflects both his roots and his rise. Yet beneath the visible signs of success lies a network of businesses, investments, and one mysterious asset so unexpected it challenges everything we think we know about him. This is the untold story of Khabib's fortune, how a humble fighter from the mountains became a global mogul without ever abandoning the values that made him unstoppable. Long before the private jets, business ventures, and global recognition, Khabib Nurmagomedov's life was defined by the rugged mountains of Dagestan. Born in 1988 in the village of Sildi, his upbringing was as far from luxury as it gets. Steep, snow-covered terrain, limited resources, and a community that valued resilience over riches. His father, Abdulmanap, was not only his first coach, but also his guiding force, instilling discipline that would become the cornerstone of Khabib's success. Training wasn't confined to a gym, it was everywhere, on rocky hillsides, in freezing rivers, and, famously, even wrestling a bear cub as a child. Those early years shaped his relationship with money. Growing up in an environment where hard work and honor were valued above material possessions, Khabib learned to treat wealth as a tool, not a trophy. But make no mistake, even in those humble beginnings, there were signs he understood the bigger picture. His dream wasn't just to fight, it was to secure a future for his family and community. When he entered professional MMA, the financial stakes were modest. Regional fights paid enough to get by, not enough to build an empire. But his dominance was undeniable. Fight after fight, win after win, his reputation grew until the UFC came calling. Once inside the Octagon, he became an unstoppable force, suffocating grappling, relentless pressure, and a mental toughness that broke opponents long before the final bell. By the time he defeated Conor McGregor in 2018, Khabib's profile and paychecks had exploded. The bout wasn't just a sporting victory, it was a financial turning point. Pay-per-view revenue, sponsorships, and performance bonuses turned the son of Dagestan into one of the highest-paid athletes in MMA. But unlike others who might immediately funnel earnings into flashy displays, Khabib's spending remained calculated. He expanded his lifestyle, yes, but always with purpose. And as the world celebrated the fighter, the man quietly began building the foundations of a financial empire. The first real glimpse of this came not in the form of a business deal or a car, but in a property that reflected both his heritage and his ascent. That property was a home, not just anywhere, but in the heart of Dagestan. Khabib's primary residence in Dagestan is a testament to the balance he strikes between his roots and his success. Nestled against the dramatic backdrop of the Caucasus Mountains, the estate is a far cry from the modest home of his childhood, built with an emphasis on both luxury and tradition. It combines modern amenities with design elements that reflect his culture. Stone facades, intricate woodwork, and expansive interiors speak of wealth, but not in a way that alienates the community around him. The property reportedly includes multiple levels, spacious guest areas, and private quarters for his family. High ceilings and wide windows frame mountain views, while the interiors feature a blend of European styling and Dagestani craftsmanship. The estate isn't just about personal comfort. It's also a venue for hosting family gatherings, community events, and visits from high-profile guests. For Khabib, home isn't a retreat from the world. It's a place to connect with it on his terms. It's said that the estate also includes a private training area, not a flashy, oversized gym, but a functional space that allows him to stay close to his roots in martial arts. Here, he can train young fighters from the region, continuing his father's mission of building opportunities for Dagestan's next generation. This isn't just property as a status symbol. It's property as a statement that no matter how far he's traveled, he's anchored to where it all began. But the Dagestan estate is only part of the story. As his wealth grew, Khabib expanded his property portfolio beyond the borders of Russia. He made moves into some of the world's most elite real estate markets, positioning himself among business leaders and royalty. And one destination, in particular, became more than just a getaway spot. It became a second base of operations for the Eagle. That destination was Dubai, a city of gold, glass, and opportunity. Dubai has become the playground for global athletes, celebrities, and entrepreneurs. And Khabib Nurmagomedov fits right in, though in his own understated way. While others flaunt their penthouses and Lamborghinis on social media, Khabib's presence in Dubai is more measured, yet the wealth is undeniable. Reports suggest he owns or has access to a luxury property in the city, possibly a villa or high-rise apartment in one of Dubai's most exclusive districts, such as Palm Jumeirah or downtown Dubai. These residences are often equipped with infinity pools, private gyms, and panoramic views of the skyline or the Arabian Gulf. The location offers him not just luxury, but convenience, quick access to high-level meetings, sporting events, and a network of influential figures in the UAE. Dubai also offers Khabib something equally valuable: privacy. In a city where high-profile figures are commonplace, he can move without the constant scrutiny that follows him in Russia or the United States. This environment has allowed him to cultivate relationships with some of the Middle East's most powerful business and political figures, opening doors for future ventures. And then, of course, there's the lifestyle. In Dubai, Khabib enjoys a level of service and exclusivity that few places in the world can match. Private dinners at Michelin-starred restaurants, networking events in skyscraper lounges, and perhaps even the occasional discreet supercar cruise along Sheikh Zayed Road. But, as always, Khabib's choices seem deliberate. No unnecessary flash, just calculated enjoyment. Still, Dubai didn't just give him luxury real estate and networking opportunities. It also became the home for one of his most visible signs of wealth, a vehicle collection that, while not as oversized as some athletes, still carries the unmistakable stamp of a man who knows quality when he sees it. And it's in this garage that we start to see the blend of rugged practicality and refined taste that defines the Eagle's empire. For Khabib Nurmagomedov, cars aren't just transportation. They're an extension of his philosophy. Unlike many champions who fill warehouses with hypercars and post every purchase on Instagram, Khabib's collection is deliberate, balanced between rugged utility and refined luxury. Every vehicle seems to serve a purpose, whether it's navigating the mountainous roads of Dagestan, cruising through Dubai's immaculate highways, or arriving at high-profile events with understated authority. In Dagestan, he's often spotted in vehicles built for endurance and terrain mastery: Toyota Land Cruisers, Nissan Patrols, and other SUVs known for their reliability in extreme conditions. These aren't status symbols for him, they're tools, chosen because they can handle the realities of the Caucasus landscape. It's a reminder that no matter how far he's risen, his roots are in a place where practicality matters as much as presentation. In Dubai, however, the garage takes on a different tone. Here, the vehicles lean toward European engineering and luxury. He's been seen with high-end Mercedes models, including the S-Class, a favorite among business elites, as well as BMW 7 Series sedans, which combine performance with comfort. There's also talk of him owning or having access to more exotic machines, such as a Bentley Bentayga or even a discreetly kept Ferrari, though such details remain largely unconfirmed. Khabib doesn't flaunt them, but their presence in his orbit is hard to miss. One of the more unique aspects of his approach is restraint. In a sport where fighters often splurge on eye-watering supercars within months of hitting a big payday, Khabib's selections reflect patience and long-term value. He chooses vehicles that retain their worth or offer reliability over flash, a sign that even in luxury, he's thinking like an investor. Yet, within this practicality lies an element of prestige. His Dubai garage, by all accounts, is spotless and meticulously maintained. Vehicles are serviced to perfection, and in some cases, customized subtly. Upgraded interiors, enhanced suspension, bespoke finishes, changes that make them personal without screaming for attention. And perhaps most telling is how his vehicles mirror his public persona. Just as his fighting style avoided unnecessary risks, his garage avoids unnecessary excess. There's no need for 20 cars when half a dozen, each chosen for a specific role, can make just as strong a statement. For Khabib, it's about control over his image, over his assets, over every outward sign of success. Still, while cars are an important part of his lifestyle, they're far from the most personal expression of his wealth. That title belongs to something more intimate: the items he wears, carries, and receives. Pieces that aren't parked in a garage, but worn on the wrist or around the neck. Because when it comes to accessories, the Eagle's choices tell an even deeper story. If Khabib Nurmagomedov's cars speak to his practicality. His watches and personal accessories reveal a different side, a side where craftsmanship, symbolism, and the weight of a moment matter just as much as the item's monetary value. While he is not known for dripping in gold chains or parading diamond-encrusted timepieces, Khabib's collection still commands respect, both for its quality and for the stories behind each piece. Among the most notable are luxury watches, some purchased, others gifted by influential friends, sponsors, and even members of royalty. He has been photographed wearing Rolex, the iconic day-date president, a choice that has graced the wrists of world leaders, as well as the sportier Rolex Submariner for more casual occasions. Both are timeless pieces, built to last, much like the reputation Khabib has forged. He has also been linked to an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, one of the most recognizable luxury sports watches in the world, known for its octagonal bezel and intricate craftsmanship. Unlike some athletes who opt for heavily customized diamond-studded versions, Khabib's style tends toward factory-original models, signaling an appreciation for purity in design, a value consistent with his straightforward, no-nonsense approach in and out of the octagon. But watches are only part of the story. In his culture, the giving and receiving of gifts holds deep meaning, and Khabib's life is rich with such exchanges. These aren't just luxury for luxury's sake. They're tokens of respect, alliances, and shared victories. High-end prayer beads carved from rare materials, bespoke suits gifted by influential figures, and ceremonial daggers, often presented as symbols of honor, have all entered his possession over the years. There's also the matter of his training gear and apparel, much of which comes from premium sponsors. While fight kits are standard for UFC athletes, Khabib's personal attire often blends comfort, utility, and understated branding. It's part of an image he has cultivated deliberately, a man of status who doesn't need to shout about it. One particularly notable moment came after his victory over Conor McGregor, when Khabib's public stock, and thus his market value, skyrocketed. Offers from luxury brands poured in, some of which he accepted, but always on terms that aligned with his principles. It's why you don't see him endorsing alcohol or gambling brands, despite their lucrative payouts. This moral selectivity has likely cost him millions in potential sponsorship income, but it's also strengthened his personal brand, making it more appealing to markets and investors aligned with his values. And that's the key. In Khabib's world, accessories aren't just about looking good. They're about reinforcing the story he wants the world to see: disciplined, principled, and quietly successful. Every piece on his wrist, in his home, or worn in public contributes to that image. But accessories, no matter how meaningful, are just the surface. The real engine behind his empire isn't what he wears, it's what he builds. And when we turn to his business ventures and investments, we see the full scope of how the Eagle has transformed fight purses into a lasting, diversified fortune. Because Khabib's greatest assets aren't parked in a garage or displayed in a cabinet, they're earning while he sleeps. For Khabib Nurmagomedov, the end of his fighting career was never the end of his earning potential. In fact, retirement marked the beginning of a new phase, one where the discipline and strategy that made him undefeated in the octagon were redirected toward building a diversified empire. While many athletes struggle to replace the adrenaline and paydays of competition, Khabib seemed prepared for this transition long before he hung up his gloves. At the center of his business portfolio is Eagle FC, his own MMA promotion. Acquiring and rebranding the organization allowed Khabib to move from fighter to promoter, keeping him deeply involved in the sport while creating new revenue streams. Eagle FC has hosted events in Russia, the UAE, and even the United States, with plans to grow its roster and global reach. It's not just about selling tickets, it's about broadcasting rights, sponsorships, and building a long-term brand that could rival the very organization he once fought for. Khabib has also invested heavily in fitness and training facilities. His gyms in Russia and abroad serve dual purposes, providing world-class training to the next generation of fighters and functioning as profitable businesses tied to his name. These gyms also double as community hubs, especially in Dagestan, where aspiring athletes see them as both training grounds and symbols of opportunity. Sponsorship deals remain a cornerstone of his income, from premium sports apparel companies to nutrition brands, Khabib's endorsement value is bolstered by his undefeated record and global fan base. Unlike fighters who accept nearly any deal, Khabib is selective, aligning only with brands that match his values, a strategy that may limit volume but enhances the quality and longevity of his partnerships. Outside the fight world, he has ventured into hospitality. There are credible reports of his involvement in restaurants and cafes, particularly in the Middle East, catering to both locals and tourists who are drawn to his celebrity. In a region where dining is both social and cultural, attaching Khabib's name to a venue instantly elevates its profile. Then there are the investments that fly under the radar. Stakes in various companies, possibly in real estate developments, logistics, and other sectors where the details remain private. Friends and associates suggest that he's not chasing fast returns, but building a portfolio meant to provide stability for decades. It's a far cry from the stereotype of the retired fighter chasing risky ventures to fill the void. Perhaps the most interesting part of Khabib's investment strategy is that it's designed to be location-independent. Whether in Dagestan, Dubai, or Los Angeles, his businesses and partnerships operate without him needing to be physically present every day. This not only gives him freedom, but also ensures his income isn't tied to one market or industry. Yet among all these logical, calculated moves, there's one that stands apart, a venture so different from fighting, gyms, and even hospitality that it took fans and insiders by surprise. It's an investment that reveals not just Khabib the businessman, but Khabib the strategist who understands the value of unpredictability. And that unexpected move takes us into the realm of the global entrepreneur. Khabib Nurmagomedov's influence stretches far beyond Dagestan's borders and the Octagon's cage. Over the years, he has carefully positioned himself not just as a national hero, but as a global brand. This isn't accidental. It's the result of calculated moves into markets where his reputation, discipline, and clean image translate into tangible opportunities. One of the strongest pillars of this global reach is his networking in the Middle East. The UAE, in particular, has embraced Khabib as one of their own. His friendships with high-ranking officials and business leaders have given him access to investment opportunities few outsiders could even dream of. These connections have helped secure partnerships for Eagle FC events, sponsorship agreements, and openings into industries that are traditionally closed to outsiders. Khabib has also made a name for himself in sports ambassadorship, lending his image and credibility to organizations looking to grow their presence in new markets. His association with football clubs, sports federations, and even government-backed initiatives has turned him into a bridge between cultures. A figure equally comfortable speaking at a youth sports event in Dagestan, as he is attending a private dinner in Abu Dhabi with industry moguls. Then there's his restaurant and hospitality ventures, which have quietly expanded beyond Russia and into other territories. While these establishments bear his name or influence, they're more than just celebrity-owned spots. They're part of a long-term strategy to associate Khabib with premium experiences rooted in tradition. The blend of cultural authenticity and modern presentation appeals both to locals and to global fans who travel for the experience. Khabib's role as a global entrepreneur is defined not by volume, but by focus. He doesn't scatter his brand across dozens of random ventures. Instead, he chooses a few that align with his image and executes them with the same precision that made him a world champion. Yet, within this carefully curated empire lies something few could have predicted. A single asset that breaks from the pattern, raising eyebrows and sparking curiosity even among those who thought they knew Khabib's approach to money. That asset is the twist in the Eagles' story. The twist asset in Khabib Nurmagomedov's portfolio isn't a hypercar or an exotic villa. It's not even tied directly to sport. In fact, its value lies not in its ability to impress instantly, but in what it represents over time: patience, heritage, and vision. While details remain scarce, sources close to Khabib hint that he has invested in a significant land holding outside the typical property hotspots. This isn't just residential or commercial space, it's a tract of land with cultural and historical relevance, possibly tied to agricultural development or environmental preservation. For someone whose public life has been defined by action, this is an unusually quiet move. Others speculate that the twist asset could be a stake in a tech or digital infrastructure company, something with no direct link to his public persona, but enormous potential for long-term returns. If true, it suggests Khabib is thinking decades ahead, investing in industries that will outlast trends and possibly even sport itself. What makes this so intriguing is how how different it is from his other holdings. While Eagle FC, gyms, and restaurants fit neatly into his brand, this asset exists in the shadows. No promotional photos, no press releases, just a strategic play hidden from the spotlight. This secrecy fuels speculation, but it also reflects Khabib's understanding of power. The most valuable assets are often the ones no one else sees coming. Whether it's land tied to his roots or a futuristic tech venture, this twist asset reinforces one truth. Khabib's empire isn't about following the obvious path. It's about mixing tradition with innovation, public legacy with private foresight. And as his story moves toward its conclusion, one thing becomes clear. For Khabib, wealth is less about spending and more about securing a foundation that will endure for generations. Khabib Nurmagomedov's legacy will always begin with his undefeated record, but it doesn't end there. His wealth, built on a foundation of discipline, strategic thinking, and loyalty to his principles, is part of what makes his story exceptional. While many athletes peak financially during their active careers, Khabib appears to be building something that grows stronger with time. From the rugged training grounds of Dagestan to the high-rise skylines of Dubai, every asset in his portfolio tells a piece of his journey. The Dagestan estate anchors him to his heritage. The Dubai properties place him among the elite of the global business world. His garage blends practicality with prestige. His watches and gifts reflect cultural respect and personal milestones. His businesses, from Eagle FC to restaurants, keep him relevant and profitable. And his twist asset shows that he's willing to invest where others might hesitate, even if no one's watching. But beyond the material, Khabib's legacy of wealth is also about restraint. He's proof that you can be one of the most recognizable athletes in the world without falling into the traps of reckless spending or hollow status symbols. His empire is built not just for himself, but for his family, his community, and the fighters he continues to mentor. In the end, Khabib's wealth mirrors his fighting style: calculated, efficient, and impossible to beat. It's not about how loud it is, but how lasting it will be. And just like in the Octagon, when Khabib makes a move with his money, it's because he's already thought several steps ahead. Because for the Eagle, the fight was never just in the cage. It was in building a life that no one could take away.